to say, que sera, sera, whatever will be, will be.
You know,
it's interesting to remember that song was actually in a quite good Alfred Hitchcock movie.
Yeah, it was a remake.
Yeah,
of his own movie.
And that girl
of his own movie.
Young woman was a singer, pop singer.
She's still alive.
Doris Day.
Doris Day kept singing it over and over.
Doris Day.
And
yes, it was her signature song.
Okay.
Doris Day was the first celebrity crush I had, but it wasn't from that movie. It was from,
pretty good. Okay.
It was from Calamity Jane.
Oh, okay.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. We actually know we're on the air. We just sort of welcomed you into our little group here. This is the June 19th edition of the Fun Show here at Big TV. And the usual cast of characters is gathered around the table today. I'm Arch O'Reilly. Sitting behind the Kira keyboard is Michael Sallin. And in between us is our dear friend Susan Harrington. We wanted to start off today just commenting, Michael wanted particularly to comment on the fact that we have a rather strange situation going on, that the United States Senate is being positioned to vote on a bill to replace Obamacare, which I call Trump don't care.
Healthcare.
Which absolutely, there are only 12 senators on a secret, double secret Republican committee who have any idea what's in the bill. And it was just admitted in committee today that they don't plan to have any hearings on it before they have a vote on it. And nobody knows what's in it. It's bad enough that no Republicans know, but most of the Republicans don't know. And these people actually expect to force their membership into voting on something that today it was estimated will cost, as well as costing lives and everybody's health insurance and everything else, is estimated to cost 1 million American jobs in the next 10 years.
And about 23 million will lose insurance.
Well, yeah, maybe it'll be a wash because at least 1 million people will die because of it.
Yeah,
in spite of that one Republican congressman who told his, what do they call those little gatherings, town hall meetings? Okay. Nobody ever died for the lack of health care.
The lack of health care.
Alternate facts, alternate reality would be said on things. So the tall ships are in town, haven't been around for, what is it, about 14 years, something like that?
I didn't realize it was that long.
What was the last time they were here, 5 years ago? Or 6 years?
Like 14 years ago.
14 years ago. Oh.
And the thing I liked about the Parade of Sail, particularly on TV, was there was so much fog in the harbor that each one of the ships in turn emerged out of the fog like it was emerging from the shadows of history. It was very appropriate.
Very nice.
On things. Okay. And then the only other sad breaking news, which you can probably be getting on commercial television at the time, is that with Mr. Warmbier, the young man who got released last week from
North Korea,
from the honored leader Kim Jong-un's paradise of North Korea.
Dear leader.
It turns out he was in a coma since March of last year, and he died today, unfortunately.
Poor kid.
So
poor young
I would
man.
assume the poor kid never even knew he was home. So that was sad.
He would have graduated this past June. He would have from the college.
I assume that his father, must be pretty conflicted by the fact that he let his son go to North Korea. It's not a very smart thing for a father to do.
No, it wasn't.
Susan.
Yes, sir.
You got a play you're about to take to New York.
Yes, hopefully.
Tell us about it.
Well, it was written by Dr. Janice Liddell. She's a former professor at Atlanta University, and it's entitled "Who Will Sing for Lena?" It's about the only female to ever be executed in Georgia's electric chair in 1945. And it's
Okay.
a one-woman piece, and it talks about her life in Cuthbert, Georgia. That's where she was from, and what happened. And
And the one person on stage is representing her.
the one person on the stage is, she's representing Lena, and
Okay.
she's talking about what happened to her
Okay.
and her trial.
And you have produced this show already somewhere.
We did it at the Mosesian, well, in the Black Box at the New Rep,
Okay.
and we did that in April. Then we're going to do it
Okay.
again. We're going to do it at the Producers Theater and Club in Manhattan. I've never been there,
Okay.
so this is
So
kind of
you don't know
exciting
what-
for me.
You don't know what it looks like?
You know what? Thank goodness for Google.
Yeah.
Because I put in the address and a picture came up, so I know
Okay.
what and then there were pictures of the inside. But apparently it's a group of small, almost you'd say like black box theaters. They're
Yeah.
not huge. They're like, some of them, depending upon how they configure the seats, it can be
Okay.
anywhere from like 50 to 75 or 50 to 100 seats.
Okay. And it's not a raised stage or anything. It's just a flat floor.
It's a flat floor, I believe. Yeah.
All right.
So it's a flat floor. The house, but I think in one of the spaces, the house is raked. So that'll be good.
So do you have much set for this show or not?
No, that's nice. It's
Okay.
we have a sink, a table, the bed, a bed I should say, and the electric chair.
So it's pretty portable.
Yeah.
You build your own electric chair?
Yes. He did.
Does it have
I'm not supposed to
spots?
say Mr. Jones, my co-producer and the director. He built the electric chair.
Is that a funny feeling to be building an electric chair?
I know. So what are you doing this afternoon, Sal?
I'm building an
I'm
electric
building an
chair.
electric chair.
It's interesting. This took place in Georgia.
Cuthbert,
'Cause they
Georgia.
got a big race going on for a congressional seat.
They do. It was once Newt Gingrich's seat.
That's once.
And the Democrats ahead.
I'm
So
glad to.
we'll see.
Hope
We'll see what happens.
we'll see what happens.
We'll see what happens. My granddaughter just spent her first year of college in a small town in Georgia.
Ostrov,
Oh.
yeah.
So
I hope he.
I always like to characterize the town as so small that the only store is in the gas station,
Not
which
bad.
she does not
Okay.
question. That's a description. She's set on that, you know.
Okay.
So unfortunately today in London keeps getting problems. I don't.
Real violence.
Yeah. Was Harry home yet?
Yeah,
Okay.
Harry got home.
Well, the day started when somebody in a van
morning.
decided to run over a bunch of people exiting a mosque
Yeah,
in London.
Ramadan.
And then I understand later in the day, somebody rammed a police car.
That we're investigating. all this.
Apparently not just a traffic accident. And when they went to arrest him, the car blew up,
Killing the driver.
killing the driver and no one else, since he
No.
didn't seem to be a very good bomb maker.
The car was filled with explosives.
One
and
of the
guns.
very small advantages of all this ISIS recruiting their people over the internet is sometimes their instructions aren't very useful.
Yeah.
Right?
No, they're not.
I mean, he had a car full of explosives and most of them didn't go off. So, kid probably didn't didn't grow up doing his own 4th of July fireworks
No.
shows like some of us did. When I was a kid, I'd shine shoes and do chores around the neighborhood and get money, and then you could buy fireworks by mail order.
Oh.
They were actually delivered to your house by the post office in a box of explosives.
Yeah.
And then we'd plot out a whole fireworks show, and then all our neighbors would gather in our backyard for our fireworks show. The only irony of it is it would come immediately after we had just trooped home from the adjoining university, where even in 1957 they were putting on a $50,000 fireworks show. And we would put on our $14.95 fireworks show, and the neighbors would applaud.
And another
the
note,
effort.
The Cosby's jury stopped deliberating and insisted they could not come to a decision, and the judge said it was a mistrial.
Yeah.
So that's
yeah.
finished, and it's going to come
No,
up
it's not.
again.
Well, I was going to say it's not necessarily finished because
No, it's not finished.
Oh, the prosecutor
Susan.
immediately swore that he was going to retry him as soon as possible.
But even though it cost a lot of money. But, well, let's see.
But
Okay.
it's an elected prosecutor, and the prosecutor made a big political deal about it, so the prosecutor
Has to follow.
probably, no matter how much a waste of money it is, probably can't get out of doing it.
And
But-
and President Trump said that.
Would you please not say that?
Okay. Secretary of Defense, he said Mattis is now in charge of Afghanistan, and and General Mattis is sending more troops there.
Actually, I don't think he put Mattis in charge. I think he put the general there in charge.
Well, Mattis
I think he
is.
bypassed the Secretary of Defense.
No, he said
He's AWOL.
the general is on the field, but Mattis is doing
Don
strategy.
Johnny is AWOL from one of his most important things. He's supposed to be commander-in-chief, and he has abdicated from being commander-in-chief. He's allowed the people to make all anti-terrorism, like, SEAL attacks and special forces attacks and stuff, don't have to be cleared by the White House anymore. Upping the troops in Afghanistan no longer come to the White House at all.
No.
What he's doing is he doesn't care, he doesn't know, he doesn't want to know. But, right. But if anything goes wrong, he feels that he can blame the generals. And you know what, Donnie? It doesn't work that way. Doesn't work that way.
But he admitted. He admitted that he's being investigated. He says,
Right. And his lawyer immediately came out and said, no, he's not being
"He's
investigated.
not being investigated." Okay, that's good. That's good fun.
I mean, it's very interesting. Apparently, there was an attempt, or there is an active engagement of a lot of people in the Trump administration to get themselves lawyers now. I mean, you notice that Pence got himself a lawyer. In fact, Trump's lawyer has hired himself a lawyer. And that's a bad sign.
Yes.
Your lawyer feels he has to have a lawyer. But apparently most big law firms, particularly in New York, don't want to have anything to do with Trump. And one of them went so far as to explain why Trump was a nightmare of a client. And this was the quote. He doesn't listen and he doesn't pay. So they all need lawyers and they're having trouble finding them.
But they get publicity. They get lots of publicity, the lawyers.
And the thing is possible that there's no such thing as bad publicity for a lawyer. I always remember a very famous lawyer named Kunstler.
Yeah, I remember him.
He was a defense lawyer for, Vietnam protesters and various and sundry counterculture people and things like that.
Okay.
And he once on television made the statement that certainly would have kept me from hiring him. He made the statement that he didn't waste his time defending people who were innocent. And in expanding on that, he basically claimed that anybody he would be defending would be guilty. How would you like to go in court with a lawyer who said, I don't work for people who are innocent? I think that would be discouraging.
That kind of cuts the jury's time in half, wouldn't you say?
But it does prove, since he continued to be successful, he was the Alan Dershowitz of his day. Since he continued to be successful, apparently there's no such thing as bad publicity. On the other hand, can you remember the last time you heard Alan Dershowitz on any significant case?
No. He says he wouldn't mind if he was called up for with all these groups of lawyers that are being dragooned up from everywhere.
He wants to work for Trump?
He says he wouldn't mind being called for that.
Apparently he's desperate, right?
Well, I guess he is. I don't know. Can we have a Charles River public swimming area? Would you swim in the Charles River?
They had a race there recently, didn't they? No. Swimming race?
Well, all I know is that the federal government says that the water quality is good enough to swim in.
Bill Weld swam in it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, he did all those years ago. He jumped in with his suit on.
And Bill's still alive, as far as I know.
I'd say so.
course, he's no longer in this state.
They have something like this in Paris that they're setting up, and they have it in Copenhagen also, in rivers in the city, and then they put in these walk areas in the city and with chairs, and people are able to get to this area. It's like having 3 or 4 pools, swimming pools in the river.
Oh, so you mean they're cordoned off so people can't?
No, anybody can go.
No, yes. But I meant there's a spot in the water that's cordoned off so that folks can't like drift off.
Yeah, they put floats around so there's something to hang on to or something.
Guards on duty.
Yeah.
Would you swim in something like that? I would try it. I like.
Well, I actually would be more likely to swim in the Seine in something like that than in the Charles.
Well, you have to.
Because the Seine is a free-flowing river; it washes out.
Well, not.
And the Charles is not.
Oh,
no, it doesn't. Okay.
The Charles is dammed.
Okay.
Well,
so things don't wash out of the Charles.
Okay. Well, it's time.
Of course, it's a lot cleaner now than it used to be.
Thanks.
The crew doesn't catch quite as many whitefish as it used to. Charles River whitefish, you know what they were.
Yeah, I know. Okay, good.
Yeah, that's exactly what they were. All right, it is now time for the Big TV Unrehearsed Thespian Society's presentation for this year. And this was somewhere in the lower reaches of the vault.
Lower reaches.
Of things. And it is entitled Spurious.
Spurious.
We're going to have to put a
list.
A list of the definitions of the title words Michael chooses for things, but this one is spurious. Okay. Action.
I think I need physical therapy.
Why?
Didn't you notice he's limping?
Yes, and scratching.
Maybe it's bed bugs.
Oh, ugh.
You don't have a pet.
2 tropical fish.
Well, they only swim.
At the Y, I swim.
You never said.
It's good exercise.
Is it in a class?
Yeah, popular with Russian immigrants.
Good group socialization.
Yeah, right. And he excuses himself if it gets ideological.
Yeah, some interpretation.
They like the steam room.
Too hot for me.
And your heart? Then there's a whirlpool.
Also, a boiling soak.
Don't forget all the machines.
I only swim laps.
With the women?
He does a little flirting.
This is about conditioning.
You might bump into one of the women.
Everybody's good-natured.
But just suppose she took offense.
There have to be complications.
Hey, it's the Y.
What about the locker room?
I have my own lock.
Of course it's separate from the women.
Of course. It's the Y.
One guy kept hunting for his shoes.
Didn't secure his locker?
Actually, he did.
He just couldn't remember which one.
But we finally found it and opened it.
And his shoes were inside?
Yes, but his jacket was gone.
That's all right. They turned up in another locker.
Dementia?
Does he work out regularly?
I'd say home if he did.
So you know him?
Well, he could recognize me.
It took some time.
How does he get home?
Good question.
You'd volunteer.
We'd all offer.
And he'd angrily refuse?
Yeah, he'd say, my car's outside.
Of course, he'd sold it a few years ago.
And the MBTA was a puzzle?
So he'd coax him into someone's vehicle.
It wasn't a pretty scene.
5 years earlier, no problem.
Reagan told us on TV.
Nancy was brave.
So you've kept swimming.
What about physical therapy?
That's nice, too.
And sometimes it can even help.
There's this chiropractor.
Maybe acupuncture.
You're just eating too much red meat.
Yeah, sure.
Fell down the stairs.
You saw the doctor. You had all the tests.
My arms and shoulder ache.
Pain clinic can help.
Yeah, but proper medication is necessary.
Yes, but I can't sleep.
Try hot milk.
Run in place.
And watch late night TV, I guess.
You know what? Change your shoes.
It's his left shoulder.
See a neurologist for that concussion.
I could get a cane.
Or a walker.
Nah, too clumsy for me.
It's his pride.
Yeah, macho man.
All right, drink green tea then.
My bladder's fine.
Elevate your head when you go to bed.
Take hot baths.
Too tired when I leave work.
Leave work. You're retired, remember?
So is everybody.
Both of you aren't.
You don't have to suffer.
This is 2017.
It is? I mean, it is.
They have new cures all the time, Mike.
And you're not an addict.
I play the lottery
Oh, come on, big deal.
every week.
What if we had casinos?
Yeah, how about those casinos?
Well, the pay sounds very therapeutic if you want to know.
Yeah, sounds like you turned too many pages.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I did.
Now you're a psychologist.
Okay.
Yeah. You're
I'm just a concerned friend.
Thinking of your well-being.
We're not friends far.
Oh, don't worry. We'd visit you in the hospital.
Bring you a nice plant.
I do enjoy a healthy plant.
Yeah. Flowers wilt, after all.
And we'd eat the candy.
You betcha.
Got it all figured out.
You got to rest for recovery, friend.
I'll take a cruise.
Where?
Where? A tropical island, of course.
Remember, you burn easily.
Pango Pango.
Very green.
Cobble's dusty.
Very noisy.
Mortars and bombs.
You could trade in your SUV.
A motorcycle gets great mileage.
Huh, that I'd like to see.
Afghan housing is much cheaper.
But
And the caves are really cool.
I think you guys are right.
Yeah. Why don't you get an absentee ballot? Blackout.
Blackout. Well, there's another great.
I thought you skipped a page. You only skipped 2 lines.
Yeah, that's all.
It
Okay.
confused me.
Okay.
It confused me.
Confused you a little. All right,
So,
but you caught up.
So last Monday we were talking about this Megyn Kelly person and this interview that she had planned that justifiably had people up in
That's the
arms.
second interview.
Well,
isn't
they
it?
went ahead with it and they let her do it and they ran the interview, and her show lost in the ratings to such things as America's Funniest Home Videos and a rerun of 60 Minutes and several other programs. She had a .5 rating. I don't think that Megyn Kelly, the queen of Fox TV, is long for NBC. On the other hand, I don't think NBC's long for anything around here anymore. You realize, you remember they dumped their affiliate.
Yeah, I
Right.
They picked up some unknown station and made it the affiliate. And now they're the people doing news on what is now Channel 10.
Yeah.
I don't know where they got them from. It would be interesting to figure out where they got them from. Burlington, Vermont,
Well, out there.
Wait,
Cornover, Nebraska, or
but where
something.
is Channel 10 though?
Who knows? I have no idea.
Could be in
I think it
Kentucky
was one of those church
with Mitch
channels
out
before
there,
or
you know.
something.
Oh.
But
Mitch McConnell, he could be
Maybe.
helping run this place, couldn't he? You don't have to read anything or know anything. All you have to do is
anyway, these people are terrible. They wouldn't they wouldn't be good enough to have a show here on big TV.
So what is Channel 7? They just show they have the 5 o'clock news and the 5:30 news and the 6 o'clock news and the 6:30 news. So they're news all day.
Well,
and then
you know, they're like many of these other small channels, like 38 was now. 38 is CW or something, and then another one of these little small channels is now MeTV. And
MeTV is the .2 to Channel 5.
Right. And what they are is when they went to high definition television, they widened the transmission band for all these stations, and in theory that would allow them to transmit very high definition television. But they found a way to cut that so that they can use part of that band they were given for a whole separate cable channel.
Okay.
And so now almost every network affiliate station has a spin-off station.
Yeah.
I mean, Channel 4 has its own spin. I don't know what it's called, but some other spin-off. And they run the endless list of reruns of things. Like your mother loves watching Gunsmoke.
Like Netflix?
I watch Gunsmoke every day.
You do?
And I'm really thrilled these days because they're now running the early black and white half-hour shows.
Yeah.
In the first number of years they were doing that on MeTV, they they never ran almost anything with Dennis Weaver in it. And I kept wanting to see that. And
I wonder why.
now they're running them.
Because he was in the earlier shows.
Right.
They would show
It's a good
Chester.
character.
Chester.
Okay.
Chester.
You know, the UN has stepped into a crisis in Yemen. What is this crisis? UNESCO, it turns out, the doctors and the health workers haven't got any pay for the last year and a half. And here they are. Yemen is facing a raging civil war, cholera epidemic, and famine.
Yeah.
So the UN is paying some of the help to stay on and help out with all the...
Well, if you're with UNESCO, you work for the UN.
Yeah. But they weren't paying them.
The UN wasn't paying
They
them?
weren't paying them.
So the UN's in bad shape, too.
Well, it would appear. Of course, we haven't given them any money, Mr. Trump, or is it President Trump?
Idiot Trump.
DJ, or Chancellor Trump.
Okay.
Chancellor Trump we can do. Speaking of Trump,
Yes.
last week they opened in New York City, about a block and a half from the Trump Tower, the Twitter Museum. And it celebrates Trump's Twitters. It's actually a production of Comedy Central.
Okay.
And they got huge lines. They were only meant to run for a week as a joke.
Yeah.
But they can't close down because so many people are coming to it. It's becoming an almost permanent one. And some of his most outrageous ones, they actually have in gold frames set off at a special
interested in what
section.
Amazon bought yesterday or today.
Whole Foods.
They bought the whole chain
Yeah.
for $13.7 billion. They're moving into the grocery retailing to challenge Walmart. Now, what do you think about that?
That Bezos guy, that Jeff Bezos.
Have you ever bought a grocery at Walmart?
No, I haven't.
Well, I have recently. No,
Really?
not recently, but I have. Because the ones that were around here, though, initially, they did not have that grocery component.
Oh, really?
And then they just put them in, I think, in like the one in Walpole and the one in Quincy, one of them. But the ones we had didn't used to have.
On the other hand, I couldn't tell you where there was a Walmart. So I would object to giving my money to Walmart's.
The president wants to expand the apprenticeship programs that they have. They're going to rekindle the skills. And there's
Well, I'm all in favor of that. I think that would be a great idea. I don't trust this guy to do it, of course.
Yeah.
But I'd be all in favor of apprenticeship
programs. Another $100 million into the pot.
But speaking of education, we note with dire distress and great disappointment, but a degree of gratitude, that Drew Faust, the president of Harvard University, has announced that at the end of the next academic year, she's going to step down. She will have put in 11 years in the job, which I can think of certain people who put in 3 times that much, but she's stepping down, and it's going to be a great loss. And the only redeeming feature in the first blush of it was the only name that I've heard floated to replace her so far, and that's Barack Obama. And that might be some solace.
Go Harvard.
Good night, Irene.
Good night.
Good night, Irene. Irene, good night. Irene, good night. We'll see you in our dreams. Good night, Irene. Feel better, dear. Good night, everybody, from the Fun Show here at Big TV.
Okay.
The good Lord willing, the creek don't rise. We'll see you here, same time, same station next week.
What creek?
Have yourself a pleasant summer week.
And watch out for the next eclipse, which is coming in August.
I think that's
Where did she come?